Call the meeting to order for Wednesday, August 27th, 2025. Roll call members, please.
General,
Here.
Kai,
Here.
Leaders,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Herder,
Here.
If you've all had a chance to read the minutes, is there a motion to approve the minutes or make corrections?
Motion to approve. Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Carries the same. Motion carried. I'll now read our statement of how the meeting will be conducted. Public hearing will be conducted pursuant to the board's rules of procedure as adopted May 26, 1988. We will first hear the planning report from the planning director on the detailed information and observations regarding the request, if not done so in written form prior to the hearing. Next, we will take testimony of the applicant and his or her witnesses. Upon completion of the applicant's testimony, I'll call upon members of the audience wishing to make a statement concerning the request. Persons in favor of the request shall be heard first, followed by those who oppose it. At any time during the presentation of testimony, members of the board may interrupt to ask questions or make comments on what has been said. On completion of all testimony, the applicant will be allowed to make a closing statement. On completion of the applicant's closing statement, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing on the request. After the public hearing has been closed, we will then hear the recommendation, if any, of the planning director, and upon completion of all discussion, I'll entertain a motion from the members of the board regarding the disposition of the application. Each speaker addressing this board shall step forward to the podium, state their name and address before proceeding with their testimony or evidence. I would ask that you spell your last name. This board shall not be ruled by strict rules of evidence, but does reserve the right to exclude evidence or testimony that may deem to be irrelevant, immaterial, incompetent, or unduly repetitious. As chairman, I will rule on all questions related to the admissibility of evidence, which may be overruled by the majority of the board. The board may grant continuances in case for good cause shown to any interested party who has entered his appearance. The board may at any time request a continuance of a hearing for the purpose of giving further notice, taking further evidence, gathering further information, touring the proposed site, or for other such reasons the board may find sufficient. In such case, we shall state a specific reasons for the continuance and set a date, time, and place when the matter will be continued. All official action of this board will be made at public hearing by motion made, seconded, and appointed on membership. If conditions are imposed, such conditions shall be included in the motion or amended hereto. Our final decision will be prepared in writing and will be part of the public record of this board. Once this board has reached a decision on the case, that decision shall be final. Section 335.1 of the Iowa Code states, any person or persons, jointly or severally, aggravated by any decision of the Board of Adjustment under the provisions of Chapter 335, or any taxpayer or any officer, department, board, or bureau of the county may present to the court of record a petition duly verified, setting forth that such decision was illegal in whole or in part, specifying grounds of legality. Such petition shall be presented to the board within 30 days after the filing of the decision of the office of the board.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing for case number ZB 2025-06.
Second.
Been moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Public hearing is now open. I would ask that Jordan and Mrs. Schneider please come to the podium.
I'm David. I was going to speak for them, sir. Yep. David L. Snyder, SNYDER, 18198 Sunnydale Road, Council Bluffs, Iowa.
Okay. Here, go ahead.
Okay, so what, I'm here to represent Jordan, lifelong Pottawattamie County resident as myself and his wife Nisha. They bought a piece of property in your packet. You saw where it's at. That's south of the Mount Hope Church on Highway 6 East. What we're doing is we're pleading with you as the board to grant us a setback variance for up to 33 feet for them to be able to build a house. And why we're here is because of the unique shape and elevation of the property. We can't build how it is, and you see in your packet there where it is we were represented by a licensed realtor, and he clearly on a couple of occasions told Nisha and Jordan that the setback in fact was 75 feet from the center of the road, when in fact we came to the county to get permits starting. And in fact, they were told it was 108 feet, which we know that's what the law is. So the reason we're here is because of the unique shape and elevation of the lot that they purchased. What it is, and as you'll see in your package, it's kind of like a pie shape. And if they have to go by the 108 feet setback requirement, they have to incur a lot of additional cost. One of them being, we have in your packet, is an additional $35,000 for dirt work. And then you also have all the extension of all the other utilities. The septic are the only one we've investigated yet. We haven't done the other utilities. So what we're asking for is that we could get a setback variance of up to 33 feet so that we don't incur all of these other costs that we have. Because we've already had to shrink the size of the house once because of financing. And if we have to have all these other things done because we don't meet the setback requirement as it is, then we're going to incur a lot of costs, and we're probably going to have to shave the footprint of the house that they build.
Any questions?
Is the lot higher on the roadside or on the backside?
On the roadside, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it drops off drastically to the east. Bought the property from Greg Goose, great guy to deal with, and his son lives in the farm just east there, and it goes off probably 100 feet or so, and then it just kind of really dives off there.
Okay.
But we bought it with the understanding that it was only 75 and they'd still be able to build a house, but now they wouldn't be able to unless we plead with you to grant us this variance.
Is it a walkout basement in the back? What type of construction?
I would like to do a slab on grade.
Okay, so that's the kind of the reason for the added dirt cost.
Yes,
Trying
yes,
to
sir.
do a
Yes,
slab
sir.
on grade.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering where the 108 feet comes in.
It's to the center of the road, right?
Yes, yes. I'm sorry.
Usually,
Yes.
people will use that measurement of 33 feet of right of way. And then you measure 75 feet back from that. So, but that's if your road is in the center of the right of way. So we try not to utilize that.
And for anyone that's not familiar with a piece of road, it is on a straight away there. There's no impedance by anything, would be from a curve or anything else that could be jeopardizing anybody's safety. So it is on a straightaway.
Anybody else have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
This time, is there anybody who would like to speak for? Anybody who'd like to speak against? It's fine, and then I ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
Moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same, motion carried. Staff's recommendation.
So in the packet, you have some contour maps in there to show, what it would be at the 42-foot setback, which is the request of 33 feet. And then also a line in there to show you the 75 feet. And in that area up there, those are 2-foot contours. Am I correct, Pam? So you have 2-foot contours. The slope drops 2 feet and 33 feet, which is only a slope of, not even 1, it's 0.06 of a slope. You scale that back a little bit further, showing where they're kind of showing the size of their dimension really, and that's another 2 feet of slope from the 75 feet back to what the size of their building would be. So, I mean, unfortunately, when we look at the guidelines of what we grant a variance for something like this, it does not meet those requirements at this time. I mean, it really would be just for them. I mean, there's nothing topography we could describe it as. There's nothing irregular about the lot that would warrant a variance of that kind. So the recommendation is to deny the application at this time and have them build at 75 feet prior setback.
When would I be able to speak again or? Yep.
Public hearing is now closed.
Okay, yes, sir.
Anybody else, any other discussion on this? Like to make a motion one way or the other?
And the practical difficulty wording from the state is what I think makes it hard for me to make a decision one way or the other. I think said that, I don't understand that they provide us much guidance on that, right?
Correct. There's not really gonna be a whole lot of guidance on it until there's some case law towards it. I just don't wanna be one of the first ones to have.
Exactly.
Anybody else want to make a motion? The case,
Based on what we've heard and read, I make a motion to deny.
we have a second. We move in second, roll call vote.
Leaders,
Yes.
Kai,
No.
General,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Herder.
Yes.
The, your motion for your case to have your variance has been denied. It's coming.
I don't get to say anything else then?
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for case number CU 2025-02.
We have a second,
Second.
and moving second, and here say aye.
Aye.
Vote same, motion carried. Public hearing is now open.
Just a second, Mr. General.
What's that?
Can I have just 1 second?
Yes.
So the motion's been denied. The next step would be, if you guys don't agree with the board, is that you would challenge it in district court. But that's the only remedy that you have at this time right now, unless you were to come back to the board with a different request.
Okay, so I'll just make one statement though. What recourse do we have? Because a licensed realtor in the state of Iowa told us the setback was 75, and in fact, it was 108.
I tell you, you'd have to ask your attorney that question. I couldn't give you that advice. I'm sorry about it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Here's some. Get your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Peterson, attorney at law. My address is 215 South Main Street, Suite 301, Council Bluffs, Iowa 51503. Tonight, I'm here on behalf of Andy and Jill Fisher, who are close neighbors of this Schultz property, which you should be familiar with because it's been here before. And to refresh a little history for you, in November of 24, Schultz purchased the property at 22326 Harbor Lane. 3 months later, in February of 25, they applied for a conditional use permit. Public hearing was held in March of this year, and this board approved by resolution 2025-03 a conditional approval to permit a contractor equipment storage under the Rural Enterprise Ordinance. Both the resolution and the ordinance that we're working with, that you have to work with tonight, have to be complied with. And your conditional use permit, that resolution sets out a number of requirements on the applicant. And now here we are, May, June, July, end of August, 4 more months later, and none of those requirements have been complied with. That's why we're here asking you to revoke the conditional use permit. I have an issue with the language that you used in your resolution. For the record, I will tell you that the resolution says it's conditional approval for a conditional use permit. It doesn't say a permit is issued. Mr. Wyatt and I have a disagreement on that interpretation, but I want that in the record that is, as opposed to saying conditional use permit is permitted or is granted, and here are the conditions of that permitted, how it should be done. Regardless, I'm going to treat it under Mr. Wyatt's interpretation that it is a conditional use permit and it should be revoked. So I have pictures. If you can start with just one. 1A. And I also, because we didn't know if this was going to work or not. So I do have, if you want to pass those out to them, I gave Ms. Colstrup a copy of them, full size for the record, and there's a copy for each of you there. So this starts out the original property, and you'll see one of the conditions is that the size of the structures are limited under the Rural Business Enterprise Ordinance to 1,000 square feet. Right here on the Potco site, you will see that the buildings total over 4,600 square feet. The applicant will tell you, the property owner will tell you that they're not using all the buildings for the business, but the pictures we will show you will dispute that. They are being used in the business. Go ahead, Matt.
You have a clicker?
I do, I'm sorry. It's just.
There's a picture that was when the property was originally purchased before the Schultz business moved in. Yeah, go ahead. And so here are some dirt piles there that are to the, I believe, the north of the sheds. And you'll see the sheds are all have stuff leaned up against them. And more debris on the site. The size of the,
Can you give us a date when these are taken, I guess?
these would all be taken between, there are various dates. All be taken between April and last week. And all are taken by either Andy or Jill Fisher or their daughter, who also resides at that address, Claire. The other requirement of the resolution, or of the resolution and the ordinance, is that the size devoted to the business and the rural business enterprise, including building, parking, and outside storage, has to be less than 1 acre. We've drawn a calculation here to show that at least it's 1.03 acres, if not more than that. And then if you add in the right-of-way that they're using, that we will show you, and the dumping that's gone on the neighbor's property, they're going way over a 1 acre. So the entire parcel, not the part to the south there, because that's the house and the attached garage, that is not included in our calculations. This is supposed to be a gate. In a rural enterprise, items are to be stored in the rear yard and enclosed with a site obscuring fence and not visible from any adjoining parcel. You will see that this gate is not opaque. You can see right through it. It is not prohibiting the view of anything. There's no obstruction of the view from the road. Go ahead, Matt. There you can see all the vehicles and trailers on the property. There's no barrier to the signs of the neighborhood from the road. And that's what your ordinance requires. That's what your resolution requires. And go ahead. This shows some equipment and the number of employees. That'll be the next one. But when the fence is was not installed, then the applicant will bring you some pictures of some panels that they put up, but they're temporary and movable. And they are, even with the building, not up to the road. So anybody driving on the road can see all of this stuff still. So that it is not a permanent barrier. A business of this size is limited to 2 employees, and you will see a number of employees at the time they applied for a PPP loan was quite a few number. I can't read that from here, 12 or 15. And the other one before that was advertising for more employees. So, and you will see a number of people in the pictures there during the day. Yeah, 7 employees. The application, when the application was originally made, Mr. Wyant said he would recommend a denial because he didn't have enough information. And then the Schultz provided more information at the time of the hearing. And one of those things said that they had 7 employees. Well, 7 is more than 2. So they've got that. No impact on the road. Well, here is the big pile of salt dumped in the road. That does have an impact on the road. Go ahead, Matt. I think the next one. There's your truck on the road. We're not supposed to be parking on the road. Go ahead. And here, this is the mud situation created by that equipment going in and out from the Schultz property. So there are people there at multiple times through the day. Claire Fisher works out of her home there, and she sees it all day, every day. Even after the conditional use, they're asking for more hires. The road is suffering, and we have this loading and unloading and dumping. And then you'll see when we get to some pictures of the parking. So there's some dumping there. Right into the right-of-way, county right-of-way, right next to the.
Deb, is that the property in River Lane or is that?
That's on.
Oh, that one's 192nd. Okay. Cross that one out, Matt. Thank you. And vehicles regularly park in the right of way on Harbor Lane. Multiple vehicles in and out. This is the vehicles that we get to look at every day. So you can see, I mean, over to the south there, that's the house property with that vehicle. I don't count that. But you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vehicles there, plus 3 trailers. And that doesn't include the stuff to the north that's not in that picture. These people are not, as Mr. Schultz represented, that the employees would come in the morning, grab their stuff, leave, and come back at night. That's not what's happening. It's going on all day. And there is work being done on the property. He represented that business would not be conducted on the property, but business is being conducted on the property because there's salt being stored and moved on the property. There's dirt being moved on the property. There's concrete crushes or broken pieces of concrete being dumped on the property. There's being wet concrete eliminated on the property. So there is stuff going on there. We got the shop area and that beyond being used as excess. And there's the aerial, we got the aerial photo we already seen. We have excess dumping. Here we're working on vehicles. There's a couple employees there you can see. Here we're changing oil in full view of the street again. Again, we're looking at the street and you can see down there the vehicles parked in the right of way. More vehicles parked in the right of way, the little car there down in the ditch. Same, different view. Again, this is what we're looking at from the road. I think this does not comply with the requirement that this be visually screened from the road. We have dumping of the concrete, we have dumping on the neighbor's property. And so it's not just the rural enterprise ordinance, because when you guys went and decided to give the conditional use permit, you said these are the things to do. That included the structure size, the outdoor storage size, employee limit, no on-street, excessive noise. I didn't mention the noise. I don't have pictures of noise, but the backhoes, when they beep, then the back up, they beep. And I don't know if the dump trucks beep too, but according to Claire, they have plenty of beeping going on morning and night.
Videos, if you'd like to see 'em.
She has videos. I didn't bring you any videos. I brought you an inaccurate picture, but the inadequate road system to accommodate this, and the road to the north of this, as you know, or as you may know, the county board of supervisors vacated. So that's closed to the north of my client's property. Adverse impact on adjacent properties. These folks cannot enjoy the quiet enjoyment of their home with this business going on out here. This is operation of business. Now, the Schultz operation, they have an attorney and they have reported to us that they're going to be moving that business in the next 18 months. Well, 18 months, we've already been putting up with it since November and quote unquote legally under a conditional use permit since April. And another 18 months is not acceptable and the county should not. He's just using this as a temporary location. His actions are flying in the face of your rulings, your ordinance, and he doesn't apparently think that he has to follow the directives of the county ordinance or your resolutions. The pictures that the applicant are going to submit to you are very nice, if they submit them. It looks great. And if the place looked like that every day and we didn't have trucks and cars going all day, probably wouldn't have a problem with it. But it doesn't look like that. We have noise, we have traffic, we have a very unsightly state. It's clear you cannot rely on the representations of this applicant. If you go back and look at the original staff report and the supplement in that, which Mr. Wyatt put in your packet, he hasn't followed those rules. And now if we're saying he's going to move in 18 months, and that's just another, unfulfilled promise that's happening. So this has been going on for a year now, and he has done nothing to comply with these requirements. I remind you of his application and the fact that his actions have shown more than his words, what can be documented with these pictures and the testimony of my clients. This is what we get to look at every day, just for a reminder. I printed these big, but Matt probably has them up there too.
Do you have pictures of what was dumped on neighbors' ground?
That one, there's a concrete I don't remember which number it is.
Next to the fence?
Not that broken concrete. I mean,
There's
Um,
lava in the lot.
yeah,
Wet cement. and stuff.
there was a wet cement. This is dirt and stuff that's been dropped on the neighbor's property to the north. There you go. There's the concrete that got dumped out on neighbor property. But I don't think, I think you have to agree that this is, back up to that one, Matt. Those stakes there, that shows the neighbor property line, those little sticks. So that's what that is. So I don't think any of us want to really be looking at this all day, every day, all day, every night, every weekend. And this is the stuff that's supposed to be stored in the rear yard. It's not stored in the rear yard. It is visible from the street. It remains visible from the street. Now, today it's not. So if you went out there today, it looks great. Here we have, you can see all the sheds are being used. So it's not just one shed being used. Again, more equipment out front. All we want is the rules to be followed, and they can't be followed. Here's like a mud scene on a rainy day. And then here's like the parking lot. So I have Jill and Andy Fisher as well as Claire here if you have questions for them. I don't think they'll be able to tell you the exact dates on the photos, but they were all taken after April, with the exception of that front one that came off of some listing site, what the property looked like beforehand. And the one that I put in wrong.
Great.
I'd be happy to answer any questions, or Andy and Jill will answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to speak in favor today? Would you like to speak opposed? Please come up, state your name and address, please.
Thank you.
I'm Kelly Wyman, attorney. My address is 149 West Broadway, Council Bluffs, Iowa. And I represent Schultz. Get these to you. I try not to repeat too much of what's already been said by way of history. But Ms. Peterson is correct. On March 26th, there was a board meeting. There was a full meeting, open public meeting. All members were present and participated in the discussion. There was a full discussion. Questions were asked, addressed at that time, including the fencing, the number of vehicles that were personally owned by Mr. Schultz and that were used by the business. This is his personal residence also. We also addressed the mud. I think that conversation was with Ms. Herder here. Staff recommendation was that the business was conforming without any foreseen negative impacts and to approve the conditional use permit. Staff explained to the board at that time that this was an ongoing neighbor dispute between the Fishers and the Schultz. And he fully anticipated that the complaints were not going to slow down after you approved your conditional use permit, and that Mr. Schultz had been advised that ongoing complaints were going to continue to be investigated as they were received. The permit was issued unanimously by this group, and no objections were noted. The Fishers' outdated pictures and the letter that they had submitted concerning an objection to rezoning was noted at the hearing by the staff and was brought up. Your permit issued April 24th, 2025, and Schultz has been continuing to improve this property ever since that date. All these pictures were not dated. You've been giving I don't know if you guys get this, every time you get a complaint and you get pictures attached, that's what that is. This stuff has been coming in long before the permit was issued, before the committee came together and told Mr. Schultz what was required of him if he's going to have a business use permit there. The pictures with the red gate that Ms. Peterson showed you, none of those are from this property. That's his other property where he intends to eventually have his business. The concrete that was dumped, that's again at the 192nd Street property. That is not related to this property. She also made point that the site of obscuring fence that has been installed is not permanent. I don't think the permit says it has to be a permanent structure. It can be moved as the equipment on the property is moved around. Let's address specifically what Ms. Peterson put in her application to revoke. Accessory structures for the business are to be limited to 1,000 square feet. She claims that's being exceeded. That is not the case. This property has a large garage that's all connected. I think it's your third picture in there. It's only the last one on the far right that is being used ongoing basis every day by the business. That's a 20 by 30, 600 square feet. He also uses one stall occasionally, which is about a 20 by 40 stall, to pull his truck in when he wants to do repairs on the dump trucks or any maintenance that needs to be done on the dump trucks. The rest of the garage, and that's what those pictures are that you have, are being used by personal. Four-wheelers, vehicles, a couch, a razor, those are not business. The fencing was waiting on a survey to identify specifically where the boundaries were. I believe the parties tried to have a conversation. Nobody was exactly sure where the boundaries were, and Mr. Schultz was waiting on that, which the survey came in June 6th of 2025, and the fencing went up right after that.
That would be the gray fencing you're talking about.
Yes. There's no limit on how many employees Schultz Enterprises can have. He can have 200 employees. They just can't be at this location. So all this nonsense about his PPP loans or his Facebook post trying to get employees doesn't have anything to do with this permit. He's not supposed to have more than 2 employees on the property at one time. That's the rule. It doesn't say he can't have more than 2 employees for his business. I would love to see a dated picture that shows one violation. There isn't any evidence here that he is parking on the street, loading or unloading on the street. There's no noise. I don't know what the noise is. We never seen any evidence of it. She also alleged obnoxious odors. There are no odors from this business. Street parking, he doesn't park in the street. He has plenty of space in his property. There's no negative impact on the business. There was also an allegation that he's overburdening the current road system. I spoke to Craig Jensen at the secondary roads office, and he confirmed nothing is different at the relevant roads. He added, even if the roads were being impacted by Schultz or the Fishers, if they were to double their farming operation, it doesn't matter that the county still has a duty to come in and maintain the roads.
So I guess my question is, how many employees are employed today by Schultz Enterprises? Or
How many employees do you have on payroll as of today? Do they all drive a vehicle every day, or do they meet you at the job site?
It varies. I mean, there's days where 2 people come
all right,
and work.
I just want just 8 employees that we have today then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because it does say here that for 2 acres, the 2.9 acres, there'll be 2 employees and 2 parking spots.
At that location.
Right.
But that doesn't mean his business can't have 200 employees that show up at job sites, but not this site. They don't all come to this location every day. He has a couple come in, pick up the equipment, the other ones can meet him at the job
Like
site.
it's this picture here where it says that we're supposed to have a retaining, this fence is supposed to be covering this stuff up, right? That was the idea of our privacy fence.
Your fence,
It's supposed to be stuff that's parked behind the fence where you can't see it instead of having a fence and having stuff parked in front of it. I guess I assume this is the current picture.
Well, you guys had a conversation, at the last hearing or at the meeting, and the question was raised, I think, about the fence, and Mr. Schultz pointed out that unless he has like a 10-foot fence, it's never gonna hide everything anyway, because the road sits about 3 feet higher than the property. So with a 6-foot fence, you would still see over it. So his understanding was he had to have a fence where things that were being stored, like when he's not using a piece of equipment on the, I don't know, the different attachments that go on his equipment, they are to be stored where they can't be seen by the road. I mean,
With the trailer. I think that the idea is that nothing can be seen from the road that relates to the business.
all day, every day.
Why not? Yeah,
Yeah. So you'd rather have the fence right at the property line?
I would think that if that's where, as much as you need, I guess, to cover your stuff, I guess that would be.
Yeah.
But I think that's what our idea was, that if stuff was hiding behind the fence, you wouldn't be able to see it if you drove by.
But you always will be able to on this property. And that was discussed at the
Well,
permit
what about this
hearing.
little grass strip right here? I mean, you can't put a fence there?
But it's still gonna be lower than the road. If he puts it on his side, like after the ditch, is what you're saying?
I don't know. I have a road here and a strip of grass, and if you had to put a fence in front of that, you wouldn't see anything.
I'm sorry.
If you put a fence there, you wouldn't see the truck and the trailer and the other truck. You wouldn't see the building either.
So if you move the fence here,
So in front of the lot, in front of the house, you want the fence?
in front of the tree line?
Here, can you give your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, Al Schultz, 22326 Harbor Lane, Council Bluffs.
Are you saying here, in front of these trees?
Not when. In front of the business area. Trailers parked.
Can I step up?
Yeah,
Where you have a trailer.
That's what.
cover.
So if I just move the fence here, right here, you're okay with that? I can.
I'm
do
just
that.
saying, that's,
No, I'm just asking, I can do that tomorrow.
well, that's what
Well,
our,
like it would cover what the people are,
I'm okay with it.
why was on that time in the beginning?
right.
Well, as she said, we didn't know for sure where the property line was. Where I was, in the picture she, yes,
You don't know where your property line?
you did not know for sure.
No?
I had a couple letters come out on June 6th, and then that's when we knew for sure. So where that dirt pile is that we keep being shown right there, I was under the impression that was my property until Carl Rogers come out and restake that.
But front of the road, front of the property should be. kind of-
Yes, I can move that fence tomorrow.
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So two proposals. One, we can add more fencing. We can move the fencing up to be at the property line. We could also put in a tree line. I mean, obviously, it's gonna take a while for trees to mature. You know, he's not trying to be non-compliant. Since the time of the permit being issued, he's gone in. You can see it's not dirt, it's not mud anymore. He regraded it, put in gravel. There is no mud being transferred from his property to the road, which was not a requirement. But again, he lives with this resident too. He's trying to make it look good. I mean, there are only 2 neighbors. The neighbor across the street has no complaint, none. Every complaint you have comes from the Fishers.
What's the date on your cover photo?
These would have been. This was the date you came to my office. I could pull it up on my phone too. You can see when you texted to me. I'm guessing 2 weeks ago, but yeah. So the photos from the garage inside were today and
At August 12th.
yes. And I understand that, you know, staff did today a unannounced site visit and took his own pictures, so you'll be able to hear from him also. And the property's gonna look the same as it does in our photos.
Would you be able to sense so you really can't see through?
Well, once I think when we addressed it the very first time, I'm like, it doesn't matter if we put 6 foot or 8 foot, 8 foot fence. When you drive by, you're still gonna see over the fence. But like I said, I can move it up front if that makes it easier.
And we can add to it. I'm sorry, did you have a question? Oh,
There's been a pretty fair amount of grade change along the road where the trailer's parked and the.
Yes. I have a permit for that. We have it
And
on,
it's come up, right?
on grade.
Grade has come up.
I would say it come down.
Okay.
Initially, I went to Craig and said, hey, what can we do about, do I need to put a retaining wall in there? And he's like, why don't you just grade it, get a permit and grade it? And that's what we did.
Yeah.
So the way I understood when I first started, my vehicles could be out there as long as they're in front parked. I thought all the other stuff had to be behind the shed or in it. There's
behind the
days
fence.
behind the fence. There are days I have all my equipment there to get washed and greased, and within a 3-4 days, it's gone.
How many vehicles do you have?
I believe
Well, that, are you saying personally or
I'm
for the
saying
business?
personally.
personal
Personally,
vehicles, I have 0.
your
You have
family?
zero.
Well, they're all Schultz Enterprise vehicles.
So how many vehicles are it?
I think when I applied, I think I said 6 or 7. And then I had 2 dump trucks and 2 or 3 trailers.
And you sold one dump truck?
Yeah, I just sold a dump truck, got another one.
Is everything stored at this location every single day?
No,
But what's there can go behind the fence that's there.
yes, I can't, but I didn't know that at the beginning. I didn't know my skid loaders had to go. I thought it was just attachments.
Well, anything that would look, you want to cover up anything that looks.
Like it's a
For a
business, right?
Business, yes,
Yeah.
business, not just, yeah.
Exactly. That's what the item 10 pretty much says, yeah.
That word.
Things should be not be visible from the road. And that's kind of, I guess, what our idea was on that, but.
Well,
no,
can I,
So I think a lot of residences have trucks, trailers parked in them every day. I mean, I live in the county. I don't live on an acreage, and my husband has a trailer in my driveway almost every single day because he hauls vehicles around. You know, is that a business? No. I mean, we use it for personal use too. So, I
When
mean,
it does
I
business,
understand.
that is different.
Yeah, I understand that the confusion though. So if we want to rearrange fences where every single non-truck vehicle, tractor, skid loader, forklift, anything is behind fencing, he's absolutely able and willing to do that tomorrow.
I mean, at our meeting, when I applied for the permit, I think it was Lynn, I said, we'll put the fence, but you know, you're still gonna see over that, right? Because the road is 3 to 4 foot higher than the parking.
So where's the road from here, right here? What is this?
That's the gravel.
Good looking from the road.
I mean,
Or put up a 10-foot fence. Yeah, that's.
So I put I put it up on the map, that's where you drive down the road up there on the screen. And I mean, yes, even if you had a 6-foot fence in that grassy area and you're in your vehicle driving by, I mean, you're not gonna see the entire thing, but you would see it.
Saying here, or if we had a 6-foot fence here?
If you had if you had it there on your property line, yep, not in the road right away or anything. And then we did have that discussion, but it was noted in there that, you know, the 6-foot fence is the site obscuring standard. And yes, we realize things are gonna stick above it, but we need to have something.
And I've never put the skid loaders behind the fence because I thought they could be out there. I thought it was just the attachments and stuff like that.
Remind me what the business is that's.
Concrete flat work.
So he doesn't sell anything at this location. He doesn't mix anything at this location. He just brings his equipment home, so it's not left on a job site overnight. He goes to your house or a business and pours concrete for other people.
And there are 2 piles of dirt behind the fence that I brought in that I take after I do a driveway or retaining wall to grade.
What was the deal about salt?
So way prior, remember when the pictures were muddy? I admit that. It was cold out, that semi truck, that wasn't my truck, they deliver it. We couldn't get it down in there because he was getting stuck in the drive. It was before we had rock down. I did drop the rock or the salt on the county road. Andy called, I can't remember what day it was, the day after, or maybe the day. I said, I need 15 minutes to a half hour, it'll be gone. Cleaned it up, I apologized to him, never happened again. It was about an $8,000 load of salt. So
How soon was that after you moved in November?
It was pretty soon. I mean, it was
It was
before winter.
winter.
It was winter.
Long before your permit.
Yeah, and I used the salt for, we use several of the gas stations around town, all of our snow removal, we use salt.
Any questions, or Debbie, you have, or Kelly, do you have any more you want to add?
Let me just double check my minutes. Oh, I did want to point out, when Al was here for his original, permit in March of March 26, 2025, there was a letter in that packet from the Fishers who agreed Al's employees were coming in the morning, grabbing the work equipment and leaving and not returning till the end of the afternoon. So I don't know why that story has changed now.
No, we did not.
The letter's in there. And again, I think, if we're going to rely on pictures from Ms. Peterson, we've got to have pictures that are from this site so that we're not misleading the board members. Al does have another site. This was brought up at the original permit hearing also. He's acquired it. It's over on 192nd Street off of Highway 275. It's now zoned industrial, so he can eventually move his business there. It was in the floodplain. He went in and got permission to have that elevated so that he could eventually build a shop there and move all of his business operations there. It's not ready. You have to let that ground settle now. So that's why we said sometime in the next 18 to 24 months, he'd be willing to move all of his operations off of here and over to there, but we can't do it today. So that's where the confusion with the other location is coming in here. All the pictures from Miss Peterson that have red fence on it is from the other location. None of those are from the jab of concrete. That's not from this property location either. Again, it's from his property on 192nd Street.
Anybody else have any more questions? Nope. All right, thank you. This time, anybody else like to speak opposed? Debbie, you want to make a closing statement?
Yes.
I understand what Mr. Schultz told you, but I can read your resolution. I can read the ordinance, and so can you. It doesn't say skid loaders can go in front of the fence. It doesn't say I can do this, I can do that. And yes, he can do everything tomorrow because he's been promising you that. He's been promising the county that for 4 months. Nothing's happening. And so in regard to the question about the fence and the survey doesn't have anything to do. He's saying that he needed a survey to place this fence. So this temporary fence he has, it isn't on a survey line. It's next to that building. It's in the middle of the property. It doesn't have anything to do with where the property line is at. The last garage on the right, there's someone working in that every day, an employee. Claire is here. I have visited with her. All the equipment that you saw in all the pictures that we had, that was all moved out on the day of August 20th, last Wednesday. Claire was home, and in the morning she took a picture. She just showed it to me on her phone. I don't have it here, but it's similar to the ones I presented, the equipment. And then that evening, all the equipment was gone. And now the pictures that Ms. Wyman has provided to you are there looking very nice. He's trying to stretch every limit here. How tall does the fence have to be? Where does it have to be? What has to be behind the fence? He's pushing the limit. The machinery was all moved. Yeah, everything can be done tomorrow, but he doesn't do anything. He doesn't do what he promised. There was mud on the road on July 30th. So, was not fixed way back when. And now today is the first time I heard, oh, we'll move in 18 to 24 months. Well, let's stretch it another 6 months. I don't think that Mr. Schultz, representations can be relied on by you. And I think that we have shown our case, the pictures my clients have taken, and if you want me to have them come up here and testify that they took them all from April on, and it's my fault the red gate pictures are in there, I'm sorry. I'm not intending to mislead the board. But,
Well, who took the concrete picture? That's a whole different location.
that concrete picture was taken, I believe, by Jill. Is it at your place or is it at 192nd?
One Jill Fisher, 22457 Harbor Lane. One concrete picture was on 192nd.
Is that the pieces?
Not that one.
Okay,
Not, that one is across,
county right away.
that's the county right away.
at Harbor Lane?
Yes,
Harbor Lane.
yes.
East side.
But
That-
one was by the red gate on 192nd. That was,
The chunks, that
Yeah,
one is
but
not.
that one was taken near our house, just down. It's
On county property, not your property?
handy.
That's county property, the one that had Carl Rogers stakes in it with that dirt pile, that's the other property of ours.
But then there's behind, well, is that, do you want to know that?
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
Those are the two questions. The
Okay.
chunks of concrete are not in this case. And Jill and Claire and Andy are here if you have questions on the pictures. But Claire did just verify for me that last Wednesday, all the equipment was moved from the site and it's gone as of today. And I don't know if Matt was out there today or who, but if it's gone, it's gone. But it'll be back. That's our understanding, so. Other questions? Do you want to hear from them on the picture dates or?
I think we're good. Anyone else want to?
Okay, all right, thank you for your consideration.
This time I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
Close, public hearing.
Moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same, motion carried, public hearing is now closed. Ask for staff's recommendations.
I did do a pop-in inspection today. I didn't know if anybody was going out there. I ran out by there because I wanted to get a look inside those buildings to see what exactly was being utilized in those. And, when I got to the property, Al was there, 2 employees were there. It was the far left side of the building, which is the 20 by 40 or whichever size you mentioned in there. Let's see. 20 by 30 size over there that had storage in it. And then I went on to the other side and, yeah, that front part looks like they could pull the bay in, but then there was obviously, there was a bunch of personal stuff in there, 4-wheelers, razors, things like that. The property does look better. I have been by it before. I can understand the concern it's on leading up to being here tonight. Today, yeah, the property does look correct for what I would have envisioned the conditional use permit being, but leading up to it, we had several conversations about the fencing materials, trying not to aggravate the neighbors further. I mean, at one point in time, they wanted to use storage containers. Told them not to do that. It was just gonna aggravate the neighbors more. And so settle on this, but as far as building wise, it seems as though he meets the requirements of what was laid out for what he's utilizing on the buildings. We weren't, and it has changed some of the process, I think, of a way that we will put together some of these conditions. We did not put a time limit on there. And we did not have a requirement of an inspection prior to commencing. And Pam and I have discussed that, and when you see the conditions come before you from now on, that we'll have a time limit on there to get these things established, and then it will be, after an inspection has been conducted of the property to make sure that the conditions are met. We haven't run into one that has run this long before. So change of process on our part.
So I guess what is, your or our, if we give them the extension or we say, you have 10 days to get this fence up or whatever, and they comply with all that stuff, what happens if they don't? And then, I mean, what is our recourse there? I mean, are we back here again in 2 months, or I mean, what is whatever? Or is that something that the county handles, or is that, I mean, I guess, is that just our board that's gonna?
It is your board that does that. You know, if you choose to go that route, I would say that then you put, a couple 30-day inspections on it, and we'll have staff go out by there, do an inspection of the property to make sure that the conditions are still being met and still in place. And when we come back before the board on our monthly pieces of it, we'll just give you that report on if the conditions are being met, if the conditions aren't being met.
Matt, has your office been notified of, I mean, there's pictures, they presented pictures. How many times since we've issued this conditional use permit has your office been notified or received any?
It hasn't, I mean, it's been a weekly, sometimes daily, sometimes weekly issue. I mean, obviously, we have some board supervisor members here. It's gone to the board of supervisors to where they're being called in on it as well. So
So when you received a call, have you been out there to check?
that member has been.
I'm sorry. the staff
Yeah, I
member
sent
has been.
I sent an inspector by. We have the inspectors that go, it's a dead end road. It's probably a dead end road that our inspectors had not been on in the, years leading up to this, other than maybe a few different times. And, we tried to have somebody, if they're not out there driving down the road weekly, they're driving out there every other week to go down the road.
And none of your staff has taken any pictures or seen anything that would indicate that they're not in compliance?
I would say that they had not been into compliance until recently.
Okay, so your staff has been out there and observed things that were not in compliance.
That's
Is that
where,
what you're saying?
that's where the fencing piece of this has come in. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I've been going back and forth on this fence for a long time to get the fence up that is there. So
The fence where it is now,
the fence where it is now.
Yeah. that
And
wasn't
it's
there.
taken you a long time to get that up with them.
It's taken yeah, I mean, they said, like I said, they said they're waiting on a survey to get done. The survey was completed sometime in June. And then they ordered those panels to be put up there. But like I said, I think it was about that time where we really started going back and forth on what type of materials could they utilize for fencing. And I didn't want storage containers to be out there. They're automatic, something that aggravates neighbors countywide, not just this. I would say either way, I mean, it's gonna be an ongoing neighbor battle, neighbor feud.
And you can understand that people buy a place and expect something,
Mhm.
maybe not always understanding that there are more things that can be done in the county than there are in town.
I think it's my opinion that this is slipping past contractor storage and into a heavier industry than just contractor storage. I think the conditional use items that we outlined weren't followed, and I'll make a motion to revoke the conditional use permit.
We have a second?
I'll second it, we can vote.
She's second.
You can still discuss.
Yeah, my question would be, is there a way is it possible that we could say, as this board, add to that conditional use permit and have it say 30 days or 60 days? Basically just a time frame that if there's any complaints and anybody from your staff would go out there and visualize, or somebody from this board, whatever, would visualize something that's not in compliance, and then it could be revoked? Is that something we can do, or what are we allowed?
You can add a review to it.
Okay.
Of, like I said, of the 30 days, to where we'll have a staff member go out, review the property and report back to you to ensure that the conditions are in place and function.
And what happens if in 4 months, go back.
Trying to think it through, so.
Do we need to vote on the one that's been seconded first, or that?
You do have a motion on the floor.
Yeah. So we have a motion, we have a second, so we'll have a roll call vote. Is that right? Okay. So and just to clarify, a yes vote is to revoke the conditional use permit. Okay.
That's the motion on the floor.
All
right. Herder,
I guess I agree.
Anderson,
No.
Leaders,
No.
Kai,
Yes.
General,
Yes.
What was the first vote?
yes. Those are 3-2 to revoke the permit.
Permit has been revoked. We'll talk to Matt or whatever else we need to do after that, I guess, but I don't know what that entails or whatever, but
What does he do?
Well, I will have to work with Mr. Schultz to come up with a schedule of compliance, to shut down the operation, at that site.
Is there any other business for us, Matt?
No other business for tonight.
Motion to adjourn. Second,
Second.
moved in second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.